Hey, soul sister. You better bleep that part out.
It's like showing up on camera is probably one of the hardest things that I've had to learn to do confidently. And it's still not confidently because you end up like staring at yourself, really. And you're like, all right, do I look okay? Is my hair okay? Am I using the ums and all the right language that people are gonna like, judge me for or not judge me for? So I think whenever we start a podcast, sometimes it can kind of like go into this, oh shit, we're on camera.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. I totally get it. Because I feel like that has been something that I've like, yeah, I don't know. I think now I'm letting myself be more just like, and I think we're both learning to just be unpolished, you know? I think it's been showing up on camera. You always have all those thoughts in your mind too, in the back of your mind. I think it's normal. I think it's like so normal for all of us to do that. But like, one thing that like you and I know we both can attest to this too is whenever we actually show up unscripted, and it doesn't even have to be within the podcast, but like say for example, like you do a video, right? Or you show up and you do something and you just do it because you're like, I'm inspired to post this or I'm inspired to like share about this. And you're not expecting it to really go anywhere. You're just like
Huh.
acting on it. And so when you do it and you're not trying to like perform or be perfect or anything, you're just being in the moment. And then it's like it gets so well received. You're like, "Oh shit." Like I wasn't even expecting for, so many people to like this or so many people to like actually reach out and be like, "I really resonated with what you said today," or like, "Thank you for the reminder," right? I think it's like when we show up authentic and genuine and we show up not feeling like we have to be perfect,
Yeah.
that's when the real essence comes through and then like you become like of service to other people. Like
Right.
yesterday I have just like a quick story to share. So yesterday I went and I spoke in front of like 100 lawyers and it was a big like luncheon and I went up on the stage and I shared my story and there's like parts of my story, where I'm making them laugh and then I'm like painting the whole picture of like moving from New Brunswick, the East Coast, to Toronto during the pandemic. And then I share about like my rock bottom moment during this time of like that transition. And then like how the pandemic on top of that, like really hit hard. But then I had said, but like just like all of you, we were all navigating the pandemic. It was new for all of us. Anyways, and I shared my story and just, at the end, it's like all happy ending and stuff. But when I got off the stage, I had one woman come up to me and say, thank you so much for sharing your story. And she's like, you made me tear up a little bit during the part where we were talking about moving and like when the pandemic hit and like when COVID happened. And she said, it reminded me, it brought me back to that time when I was navigating my own personal challenge during that time. And she actually started to like tear up during that moment. And like I gave her a hug and I was just like, we're all navigating something that was so scary and so unfamiliar and so like uncomfortable for us. But it was just like that whole experience of that exchange with that woman after I spoke on that stage just reminded me of the power of vulnerability and the power of like when we show up and show our humanness, like when we show up and we show that side of us where it's like we're not wearing the masks, we're not trying to be perfect, we're not trying to perform, we're just showing up as a human being because at the end of the day, and if we strip all the labels and all the titles and all of the things from ourselves, what we are at our essence is just literally like a spiritual being in this human form, right? And I think that in a world where there's so many pressures and responsibilities and like conditioning and the way that we're supposed to live our life, that it's so easy to have the walls up, to have the guard up, to wear the masks. But the moment that you show up and you show up in your authenticity and no masks, you give other people permission to also do the same. And that's such a huge gift.
I love that story. And I'm so proud of you for doing that because I know that's been something that just helps you express yourself. And also, this podcast for us is like an outlet for us to express ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And it is intentional. It's not, oh, we want fame. We want people to have eyes on us. It's like we have so much to share because of our experiences in life. And a lot of women are looking for other women to just relate to and get and understand that they're not alone on this journey. And so this is also why the podcast is so special to us because we come on here and we're not here to, say, oh, we need like a million views on this or listens on this. It's like if we can impact that one person today that says, you know what, you helped me today, that is the reward in all of this. And sure, we're finding our way to building it and to reach more women and, also to let them know that they're more powerful than they even know because they have an experience to share or value to share in their life that can also help somebody else because we all have something in us to be able to help another person. We're not, victims of this life. We get to, use our experiences in life and in a way that is stripping away all of that judgment or the thoughts of judgment from others or the thoughts of rejection because not everybody's going to like us. And the minute we recognize that is when our power starts to magnify because we're just being very intentional with that one person that we're speaking to. And the people that are listening creates that domino effect with. So it's like this person heard us and they might say, oh, you have to listen to Hey Soul Sisters podcast because you can relate to this. It's like yeah, it's a service. And I think we're all here on earth to serve in our way, whether it be a one on one encounter with somebody we just met on the street that we know needs something. We're helping in little ways. And this is a big platform, but I feel like we are in a society where we're able to reach people. We're able to do this for free, basically. Like we're able to speak, use our voice because our voices I think a lot of us suppress that voice because of the fear of being seen, fear of, speaking something that might be controversial or opinionated to somebody else. And as women, we're taught to, dilute ourselves in that area of life. And when we do that, we're really missing out on helping others. And we're really missing out on, transforming somebody else's thoughts or lives because of what we've been through that can help them. So, yeah, I think for you doing that, you really stepped out and you've been doing this for years. But I also feel like every journey that we take to do it makes it that much more easier because we see the evidence of those rewards. We see people get something from it and it fuels us to want to do it more. So I'm so
Yeah.
glad that we're doing this podcast without those like, those need to have the outcome be bigger, like fame and fortune and, be a guru in this society. But to say, if I help this one person today, that's all I need.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me, right?
Yeah, girl. I think it's interesting because before we popped onto this, before we hit record, before we
Yeah.
hit record really, we're like, let's just flow with it. We're not really sure where this episode's going to go, but let's flow with it. But something that is coming up is visibility.
Yeah.
So what I was just sharing and what you just shared, I feel as though there are a lot of women out there that still struggle with being fully seen, being
Mhm.
visible, whether that's online or offline, in social groups, social
Mhm.
settings, or it's when they want to like share something. So, for any of you who are listening right now, maybe you've been thinking about starting a podcast of your own. Maybe you've been thinking about writing a book. Maybe you've been wanting to start doing TikTok videos and sharing little tips and tricks or sharing parts of your story. Maybe you have dreams of speaking on a stage and being able to use your own story and your own message to transform someone else's life. But like whatever it is, I find that there are times where we struggle with putting ourselves out there. We struggle with being fully seen, being fully visible. And this is something that I can definitely speak to. I know for you too, Sherry, but like something that I can speak to that I've struggled with for most of my life, and I still struggle with it here and there, is putting myself fully out there and being fully seen as not just the versions of Whitley that I've created to be safe, to play it safe, to be a chameleon, to mold myself to the audience depending on where it is, but actually fully owning all of Whitley, the truest forms of Whitley, even the little parts of Whitley who I don't always show everybody. allowing her to fully be seen, right? And I think that that comes with the fear of judgment. I think it comes with the fear of rejection and the fears of abandonment, right? And I know that's been a big one for me, is just the fear of abandonment. So like if I do this or if I say this, if I'm going to, maybe I'll offend somebody, maybe I'm going to like upset somebody, maybe I'm going to rock the boat, right? But I'm over the years of like doing that work on myself and realizing, I actually that was just an old conditioning of my own to keep myself safe from past experiences, maybe from childhood or being in a teenager or young adulthood.
Mm.
But like if you think about if you think about yourself as, we all have a message, like you said, Cher, like we all have something to give, right? And every single one of us is different and unique. And I think that if you have a message, if you want to write the book, if you want to go and speak on stages, if you want to, go and start TikToks or a podcast, I say go for it. And I say start off small, like just one little baby step every single day toward that and build that confidence within yourself to be seen. And you'll get there. I promise you'll get there. But it just takes a little bit of time, like when you go to the gym and you're working out a muscle, right? It takes a little bit of time before you start to see the results, but you have to start somewhere. But here's the thing, there's not one other person in this entire world of, I don't know how many billion people there are, maybe 8 billion people in the world. There's not a single person like you. Your story, your experiences, your lessons are unique to you and your experience. But in all of that, there are so many beautiful gifts and nuggets that you can have to share with other people where it will help somebody on their journey, wherever they're at in that stage of their life. And that's how we grow together. That's how we like uplift one another. It's through sharing stories. It's through sharing our lessons. It's through showing up through that pure authenticity of our own selves and what we bring to the table, right? And so if this is something that you've struggled with being fully seen, being fully heard, I just encourage you to just start slowly every day. Do a video and start slowly. Like start to record a video of yourself in don't necessarily post it right away if that makes you feel too uncomfortable, but at least just like hit record, right? And
Yeah.
start just taking the steps. And then the other thing too is like when you want something, all you got to do is put it out there to the universe and ask for it. Like ask for it, claim it, and ask for help. Like ask the universe, hey, support me with this. Send me help. Send me the people, the tools, resources to help me achieve this thing. And I'm telling you, it'll help. Like the universe will listen and the universe will send you the tools, send you the people, the opportunities that you need to get to where you need to be. I think
Mhm.
going back to what you were saying, Cher, as women, it's so easy for us to dilute ourselves and to like dim our light. But the biggest when we actually show up and we claim our power and we claim our light and we don't dim for other people and we shine bright, we realize how big of an impact that we can have on others and how that ripples out into our communities, into our families, and into the world, right? What about you?
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on when it comes
So many
to
thoughts.
visibility?
So many thoughts with what you were saying. I didn't wanna, like, interject, but oh my gosh, like, when you were talking about how, nobody's the same. That's one thing that I've been thinking about the last couple days because I think I told you this that I've been helping some women with like personal branding stuff and helping them like show up as themselves in their business. And if you have a business, it's hard because a lot of our work is on social media and that's where we reach our potential clients. And so for me, it was like thinking about okay, well, what is personal branding, right? And personal branding, even though your niche could be very saturated, right? Like everybody's doing the same thing. We could be all like doing this like soul work. We could be coaches, we could be real estate agents, we could be hairdressers, whatever. We think we're doing the same thing. It's a niche, but we're not the same, right? And like you said, your experiences in life make you unique. You tell a unique story. It's a unique blueprint. It is just tapping into how you can help somebody else because of you. They're not buying into your product, they're not buying into your service. They're buying into you because they trust you, right? And so that was a big thing, is like realizing, why did people follow me where I went in all my careers? It's because they knew who I was. They knew that I was, one, trustworthy, reliable, experienced. I had good values that matched their values that they could resonate with. And values is a big thing when it comes to showing up online or any space, because you ever have those moments where you're talking to somebody and all of a sudden you're like, I don't really feel this, you know? And the thing is like, it could be one of two things. It could be that you're focusing too much on yourself and you're worried about what they think of you, or it could just be that their energy and your energy don't align, right? And so I challenge people when they show up online to speak to that person that is you. That the value that you show up with, you're going to show that to the person that you want to hire you or to be in the same room as you, because the more we can let go of the fact that, we don't need to be validated by everybody, we can start to see, well, I enjoy helping the person that shares the same values as me, or that feels like they can trust me, and that in itself motivates me to do better, because that person already is coming to me for me, not the thing that I'm giving them. And yes, you're giving you that, just energetically aligns, right? When you can first trust that person, the know, like, trust factor, right? When we talk about that, it's basically like that. It's like, I know you, I trust you, and I want to, you know, I want to buy your service. I like you, right? But it starts with you. It doesn't start with what you're providing. It starts with the person that you are. So you can say all you want that your niche is saturated, the industry is saturated, everybody's doing the same thing. Why would they buy from me? Well, that's why. Because it's you, right? And I also want to add on the fact that you said, just start the thing, right? And I think that this year has proven to me that just by starting the thing, like us doing this podcast last year, starting the podcast last year, then the retreat we did, the women's retreat, and me reaching out to people because I knew I could help them, because I have the skill sets in my life to be able to help people. And just the little breadcrumbs, those little things that come together and they're like showing you the way. You don't have to push. You don't have to come online and pretend to be anybody you're not. You come on with the intention of building something, and it doesn't have to be overnight success. And I think when you let go of the fact that, you're not going to be an overnight success, it is, what did they say? It's a sprint. No. Yeah. It's a
Marathon,
marathon,
right?
not a
Yeah,
sprint.
it's a
Right. Sorry, I
marathon.
forgot the saying. So it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? And the more you can develop that relationship with people, the more they're going to follow you wherever you go.
Mm,
Everybody's followed, the people that resonate with me have followed me, right? So it's a slow process, but it starts, number one, with loving who you are at the core. It starts with showing up authentically as you are. And if you do that, if you show up intentionally with who you are, the right people will follow, the people that don't matter won't. And at the end of the day, you have to say to yourself, that's okay. That's okay. They're not meant for me, you know?
yeah, that's so
Yeah.
well
And
said, Cher. So well said. You're right, 'cause you will attract the people who are for you, and you'll repel the people who are not for you. But the key to that is making sure that you're showing up in your most authentic self, showing up as your most authentic self. Because you're showing up fake and phony, well, guess what? You're gonna attract
people
that
read that.
same kind of
Yeah.
energy, right?
People can
And
see that, right? Yeah.
yeah, they totally can, and they can feel that even, like, through energy, right? But if you think
Yeah.
about going back to intention, like, intention is everything. I was on the phone with my stepson the other day, and, I love he just calls me up, like, just randomly, random morning calls, day calls,
Oh,
evening calls, just to
I
talk to
love
me,
it.
and it's like, "I love you." Anyways,
Yeah.
so we were chatting just the other day, and we were talking, he was asking me for advice on something. And he said, I really want to send this message, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to do it. And I said, are you expecting a certain outcome from the message? And he said, yeah, I am. And I said, what if it doesn't go that way? What if the outcome goes a different way? How are you going to feel then? And he was like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Right. And I said, okay, well, what if you sent the message and you detached yourself from the outcome? What if instead, when you send that message, you change your intention? So the intention is now energetically shifting to something different so that you're staying in your power. You're not attached to the outcome, but in sending that message, it brings you that closure and that inner peace that your soul is craving for right now. He was like, huh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So going all back to intention, whatever it is, whether you're going to make a post, whether you're going to show up and do a video, whether you're going to go and call that friend, whatever it is, what is your intention behind doing that? Everything is
Mhm.
intention. Energy doesn't lie. And so if you're going to do something with the intention of being malicious, with the intention of being just having a different, not good energy, we'll say, don't do the thing because that energy will always find its way back to you. But if you're going into something with good intentions, right? Intentions that are aligned, you can never lose. You may not get the outcome that you're hoping for, but I promise you, you will get the outcome eventually that is most aligned to who you are and who you're becoming. So always go back to what is my intention whenever it is you're about to take an action or make a decision.
Yeah, I can say that too. Like a lot of people, there's a few people that I know that you can tell they're physically uncomfortable with being online. They're physically like you can
Yeah.
tell. Like,
Yeah, I
they
get
play
it.
with
It's
their
scary.
hair, they jitter, they slur the words keep, and that takes practice, but it's uncomfortable for people to show up online because like I said, you're talking to yourself, really. And you're like, who's gonna look at me right now? But forget about who looks at you. Forget about what you look like. Forget about what you're saying, like how you're saying it. It's what you're
Yeah.
saying. It's okay, am I reaching this message across? Like what is my intention, like you said? And I think being a photographer for so many years, it was like, oh, I haven't posted for a couple of days. I have to post. No, you don't. There's rules, there's all those things that have been programmed in our brain, like the algorithm. That's what they want you to do. They want you to be showing up all the time. They want you to be posting the things so that
Oh my gosh. Oh my
they
gosh.
make
Okay,
more
so
money.
I have to say this super quick because what you were just saying about the algorithm, they want you to post. I got an email today from Google saying, "You got 1,000 views." And I was like, "1,000 views on what?" On a review, on a Google review I left for a restaurant. That is how bad they're programming us into being like, "Oh, so
Need
now you
more
want me to
reviews,
play
yeah.
into the game of like sending more review." I don't need your views, okay? I'm good. I was doing it out of the goodness of my heart because the restaurant owner asked me to because they were brand new and their food was fucking amazing. But I don't
Yeah.
need Google to be like feeding my ego and be like, "Oh, you got so many views on your review." No, 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 no. But going back to what you're saying, the algorithm playing on our psyche when it comes to that can really water down the intention that we put out. So I'm sorry, but keep going with that. Don't
Yeah,
get
yeah,
caught up
yeah.
with the algorithms and
No,
the
no, no,
views.
and when you're especially when you're in a creative space, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was a cake decorator photographer for 16 years. So I my whole life was around social media, right? But at first I didn't know how to use it. And I thought, oh, being vulnerable and like raw was the way to go. But then I realized, shit, no, that's being a victim in my space. So then I had to start learning how to be inspiring for others in a way that was uplifting instead of poor me, because a lot of people come on there as poor me, and that kind of thing rubs me the wrong way, and I know a lot of people don't are not attracted to those things. They're attracted to positive uplifting things because in their lives they might have things that are going wrong, and when they go online, no one wants to be like, you know, down in the dumps, you know what I mean? So I had to really like learn that this isn't a space to show my whole life. This isn't a space to cry. This is a space for me to uplift in using my pain to uplift. So you can sit with your pain and say, this happened to me, but how are you going to take that message and help somebody else?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That is the difference that I started to realize. I had people come up to me and go, "I love your posts. I love how inspiring they are. You're so inspiring." Da da da. And that made me feel like, okay. And then before that, when I was doing more vulnerable posts, not really doing this whole inspiring stuff, it was like I felt like I was repelling certain people. So you have to really, that's a healing process too, right? Like a lot of people show up because, they feel like they need an outlet. They need social media is not for that, in my opinion. Social media is not to spread more negativity in someone else's life if you can't help them. It's like, just get the news away from me, get the shootings away from me. Like, I will read it if I want to, but don't contaminate my social media with that stuff because that's brain rot. And for me, it's like we get programmed with these things that we see online every day. So follow the people that are going to uplift you and help you on your journey of growth, not set you back in your thoughts, in your, that victim mentality and looking at things as like a black hole versus the rose colored glasses. I think that it's changing a lot with that. Like I follow people that inspire me every day because it motivates me to do better in my
Mhm.
business. It motivates me to show up as I am. And yes, there's the comparison, but when you compare yourself to somebody who's inspiring you,
Yeah.
it makes you want to do better. It lights a fire under your ass, really, right? So I think that's just the number one thing is like forget the metrics, forget the algorithm, forget the views, forget the follows, and focus on the content that really helps others and inspires others in their lives, you know? And that's
Yeah.
it. That's all like social media has taught me so much. Cause I used to post every single day. And now I'm like, you know what? No, Sherry, be intentional. Like we took a break off TikTok, and when I posted a video of us, like, I don't know, it was like a month later, I don't even remember. Like it went crazy, right? So I'm like, but is that the algorithm saying, "Oh, we haven't seen you for a while, therefore, we're going to give you more views so that you keep posting." Be aware of this.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because they're
Definitely,
trying to trick you
definitely.
into saying your message was amazing. But I mean,
Right?
yes, our messages are amazing. They're just not reaching, they might not be reaching all the women that we want to reach, but the algorithm is trying to sway you into spending all of your time on this thing, right? Where you
Yeah,
could be spending a lot more time creating, building, inspiring, doing the things that light you up. That is brain rot, in my
exactly.
opinion. Listen to our
Yeah.
podcast. That's what you could do while you're working.
And just living too. Like I actually just posted like speaking of visibility, I have been the only places that I'm actually visible online is through our Soul Sisters page. But like I took a break off my Whitley Jane pages for so long because I was like, I just want to live. I've literally been posting on social media for like the last decade, right? And just doing video, all the things. And I think for me, it was like I needed to take a step back and I needed to actually just start being and not living on a screen, right? But that was for me. That was for me because of where I was in my journey. But now I'm starting to feel like, hey, I'm ready to get back out. I'm ready to start showing up on my pages again with the intention of not building a massive following. I think before for me it was inspiring, but I think I got too caught up with the
Yeah.
algorithm and strategy and it just became like it didn't become fun anymore.
It's not fun. No.
It burned me out. It burned me out is what it did. So I took a long ass break from it and now I'm ready to like get back into it, but on my terms. And for me, it's not about building the massive following. It's not about any of that. It's just simply about posting when I feel inspired, but creating a door for people to come through to join me in more in person things. And that's it because for me, I'm like, I love online because the online it gives you many opportunities to connect with people from all over the world and people you wouldn't even think of being able to be connected with. But for me, and I know for you too, share that's that craving of more in person connection, right? And I
Yeah.
think it's like I'm looking at it now as okay, this is for me to show up online authentically. Like, number one, there's no performing. Number two, there's no trying to track analytics and the algorithms. Like, I'm over it. Number three, it's simply to share a message that can inspire somebody, that can help somebody that day. And to say, hey, I exist over here.
Yeah.
And if you like what I'm posting or what Sherry and I are posting and sharing, then come join us. Come to one of our events, come to one of our retreats, come to one of our in person meetups. Speaking of in person meetups, though, on that note, when we're talking about inspiration and following people who inspire you, but also becoming friends with people who also inspire you. So Sherry she just launched her first in-person event just last week. So proud of you. And it
No,
was a
thanks.
hit. It was
It was a
massive. It was
hit.
amazing.
Yeah.
It was the She's Off the Clock event.
Yeah, you're gonna
And
be seeing more of
so
it.
yeah, yeah. So I just want to drop this super quick so you guys are all have a heads up is so we're also going to be offering another one. I'll be hosting one next month in October here in Toronto if you want to come to an event. And Sherry's already has her next event in St. John on the books for November, Cher?
November 13th in New Brunswick, yeah. So I wanna explain what She's Off the Clock is because you might not I
Know
think
what
a
it
lot of
is.
people might believe that it's this networking event where, business professionals come and they meet each other and the common networking events that you see. This one was inspired by actually, I was listening to a podcast and it was Mel Robbins, and she was talking about something called the social clock. Okay. So if you guys don't know what the social clock is, basically the social clock is when we're expected to get married, have a job, buy a house, have kids by a certain age. As women, we've been programmed that way to believe like, oh, I'm not married yet. I should be by now. Or I'm not, financially secure to buy a house yet. La da da. And the reason why I called it off the clock, she's off the clock, is because we're not on that social clock at this event. We are here to embody every version of ourselves and feel proud of that wherever we are. It's not a networking event where you say, I'm an entrepreneur and I do this because, and then comparing each other. I do
No
not want it to be
masks.
like that. It's no
No
mass,
masks.
zero judgment. And if you are an entrepreneur and you want to share your passion, amazing. I had so many women show up and they're like, I do this, this, this. I'm like, wow, you're helping so many women. You're helping, you're passionate. You're doing the things. I'm not there to sell. No one's there to sell. Everyone's there to show up as they are with their deepest values and their need for connection and letting go of the rules and the roles and the responsibilities that we all have as women. And another reason why I also mentioned that I do this, that I called it She's Off the Clock, is because funny enough, my dad passed away 3 years ago and he used to fix watches and clocks and he used to work constantly. Like never saw him a day in our lives. He would always be fixing his watches. And I think even though he's not a woman, I think that we're starting to adopt that kind of masculine kind of hustle culture in our society where it's like, well, we have to be responsible for everything. We have to hustle. We have to take care of the kids. We have to nurture. We have to be this and that and soft and hard and blah. It's a lot. So for me, it was like, let's start being feminine again. Let's start getting back our softness in life, letting things flow, letting our intuition guide us through life, making in-person connections versus showing up online as, I like this person, but I really don't. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of you can't get to know somebody well enough on the internet. It is very difficult unless they're showing up and speaking to you one on one like this. But even so, people don't know our whole lives, you and I. So it's nice to sit face to face, look in each other's eyes and say, you know what, I'm passionate about this. I love doing this. I feel this way. These are my values. These are my passions. These are my kids. It's really about relatability and showing up and knowing you're not alone in life and that you can go out and you can let go of all of that and have a good time. So She's Off the Clock is going to be, like Whitley said, now that we're having one in Toronto and one here in New Brunswick. And we really want women to show up as themselves. You don't need to put on a mask. You don't need to be polished in a suit. You can wear whatever you want, do whatever, all women are welcome, basically. So I'm really excited that this first one was a hit and people kept asking, when's the next one? So I already booked the next one. So
I love
yeah,
this.
it
It's,
was awesome.
and that's the thing too, like that I find that's where that intention of you and I, Sherry, it's cultivating safe and supportive spaces for women where they don't feel judged. They can be themselves. They can take off the mask. They can set down the armor and just come and be who they are and not have to perform, not have to be anything else than themselves. And the beautiful thing about that is that, you and I, we show up that way. And I said this to you on the phone last night, actually. And I said, the energy that you show up in is the energy that you're going to attract always. So whatever rooms that you're cultivating, that room, the energy of that room will be a direct reflection of the leaders or the people who are cultivating that room. And I think for you and I, it's like we value that authenticity so deeply and that connection and that supportive energy with other women so deeply that that's what you're going to see. And so that's what you can expect when you come to a She's Off the Clock event or to any of our retreats as well. So We
Mm.
hope to see you there. Super excited. It'll be my first event in Toronto, in-person event in Toronto that I've ever put on, and it's been so long, oh my goodness, since gosh, I think the last event I
Do you
put on
like
was back
it?
in New Brunswick in, like, 2018, so or 2019. Been a hot minute. I'm
But
excited.
there's something so rewarding about that. Like, it's just, the intention isn't like making money, and the intention here for me and you is building on these spaces that
Yeah,
we need more of. We need, and if somebody else is doing a women's event, yes, let's do it. Like, let's all do it. Let's not try to fight for, these, like, it's not
fight and
meant to be.
compete for spaces
Yeah.
and for yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the
exactly.
more leaders that show up and are building these rooms and building these communities, the more impact ripples out into the world, and that's what we need. We need more of that. So, also, if you're ever interested in collaborating with us, we always welcome you to reach out to us to learn more, and yeah,
Well, let's
but
ask
this
one
was
more question. We were talking
yeah.
about this. So we were discussing about, because we've had so many women reach out to us and they
Oh,
want some one-on-one coaching, and like they're going through some stuff in their lives, and they want some help, right? And so I think for us it was like, okay, well, maybe there's something here we can build together that we
yeah.
want to ask you, the audience, the listeners, if we had a group coaching container, right? Whitley, can you elaborate more on what
Yeah.
that would look like for the
Yeah.
women?
So essentially, like what that would look like is basically us creating a group coaching container for, maybe a small group of women. It wouldn't be a massive group of women, but I would say less than 10 women, where it would be basically you would get some coaching from Sherry and I, get coaching on where you're at in your journey. And basically, what the container would be us working toward a collective goal together. You would have that support, you'd have that community of other women who are also going through whatever it is, but trying to get to that next level. And I think the biggest thing too is really what we keep hearing over and over are women who are basically just really tired of being in survival mode, like just constant go, 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 performing, overachieving, putting everybody first before themselves. And they're just burnt out and tired, and they just need to get back to who they are, find that spark again within themselves,
Mhm.
and to just bring that joy and that presence to be again and to like really live and enjoy life. So whether that's strengthening, your health, strengthening your relationships, strengthening maybe your relationship with your partner, with your family, with your kids, with your work, balancing between life and work as well. It's really helping you to step into the best and most authentic version of yourself where you're free from the chaos, from the stress and the constant doing, but actually like to start living again. And I feel like this is something that we've been hearing over and over from so many women who are working in jobs, maybe women who are running their own business, and maybe women who are still like stay at home with their kiddos right now, and they're just looking to kind of get back into something that lights them up. And so
Yeah.
it's not a complete picture just yet because I think the idea was for Sherry and I to really just kind of put the feelers out. It would be like a shorter term coaching container, probably anywhere from I would say like a couple of months, maybe. It depends. It really depends. I think that what is important for us is to put the feelers out and see what kind of interest there is on something like this, and then creating sort of like a beta to start and really getting some feedback from you guys of like what you'd like to see, what you'd like to have incorporated, and then just build it out with you guys and then offer that. And then, of course, because it would be a beta group coaching container, our first one, we'd offer it, of course, at a really great price point too. So all to say, would love to hear your feedback. If you're not on our newsletter, join our newsletter We always send one out every week, especially to just let you know when a new podcast episode comes up. But it's also a great way to be able to connect with us through email. But if you're not on our newsletter and you want to just reach out to us directly, you can always reach out to us through our socials like Instagram or TikTok, of course. So yeah.
Yeah, or leave us a comment here. So, if you're something that interests you,
Hmm.
definitely leave a comment here. And if you want to share a little bit about yourself and how it would benefit you or what you need help with, that would definitely help us create this container very
Yes.
customized to you and
Yeah.
the women that are in that so that it doesn't feel like, you're left out of it. Because, and I think a lot of us have the same kind of, mindset around like, where we're at in our lives and what we need help with. Because I think the general consensus is most of us just want something bigger for ourselves at this point, right? It's very like we've been hearing it so much, like, but I think a lot of us are just looking for that next silver lining in our lives and looking to balance more in our lives. How do we balance it? How do we find like that spark, like Whitley said, and figure out who we are and love ourselves to the core and do the things despite fear and show up. As we said, talked about in this podcast, show up and be seen because if you don't, no one's going to see your light. If you are hiding, no one's going to see your light. So let's get your spark. Let's connect. And we're really excited to see where that goes. Yeah. Thanks for coming on this episode too. It was very not planned, not
Not
scripted.
at all.
Yeah,
Impromptu, but hey, you know what though?
I
I
love it.
trust that. Sometimes you just have to trust the universe because sometimes the universe has a message for certain folks. And when
Mm,
you just surrender
yeah,
and you allow the universe to co-create and flow through you, that message gets to the right person at the right times. Yeah.
exactly.
Thanks
I love
for
that.
being here with us again this week, Soul Sister. We love you and have a great rest of your week. And we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.